Check, check, check. What is up, my friends? Roma wins late at the death over Monza. I hope you have enjoyed your Sunday. I hope you've been having a nice weekend. And there is, I think, a lot to go over today. We're going to be definitely taking a look at the Jose Mourinho press conference towards the back end of today's episode. We're going to look at those starting formations. And we're also going to take a look live from Roma Club New York as to what it was really like. And today we're going to start off right, though, from just taking a look at what's going on in Serie A and some scores. If you were like me, you just watched the Derby d'Italia. It was good. The one thing that it made me think of was that maybe things are so far from how the way, many of us grew up watching Italian football. I thought the quality in this particular match was a little bit low. I think that the players themselves, like Leao, are our standout performers. It's unfortunate for Pulisic that he had to come out. I look at this Juventus team. I like Locatelli. I like Vlahovic. But other players like Wea, I don't know. And I know, look, I know he went and did his thing today. Look at the defense, like guys like Gatti and the rest of their defense all around. I'm just like, it doesn't really make me think of, well, it's not. It's a new era for Italian football, right? And I don't know. It wasn't a great game, to be honest with you. And once Pulisic came out, I'm sure that the cable providers and Paramount who sell subscriptions, right? I'm sure they were like probably so frustrated because a percentage of people definitely just tune in to watch Pulisic. But I think that Pioli messed up with that substitution there. I think that he should have probably taken off Giroud. And once he did that, it's like Milan lost everything. Of course, they went down to 10 men, but I think that maybe Leao should have played like a 1-2 with Pulisic, and they would have been better off because at least Pulisic could work. At least they could invent something from the top of the halfway line between the both of them and run it out like that. So it ends up 1-0 for Juventus. And yeah, Vincent, he's here and he says snooze fest. And I totally agree with that. But let us take a look at the rest of the score lines going around Serie A today. And yesterday, Lazio won 2-0. Verona lost at away. Oh, no, I'm sorry, at home at the Bentegodi to Napoli, put 3 goals past them. Kvaratskhelia getting on the scoreboard there. Inter put up 3 against Torino in Torino, and we can see Thuram getting in net again. Martinez, which seems like his 50th goal this season already. Çalhanoğlu at the end in 90 plus 5. Bologna scores 2 to start that one off. Frosinone claws one back, but it's not enough. Salernitana, though, is quite the match if you had missed it. Cagliari really looking destined for relegation at this point. It stinks for Ranieri, but Boulaye Dia has gotten past the issues which were going on earlier this season where he failed to report for training camp. And we see at the very, very end, 90 plus 5, he gets a penalty, converts that one. And there was a lot of drama here, too, as well, as Nicolas Viola scores in the 88th. If that was the go-ahead goal right there after Dia had put the first goal in. So that was a lot of back and forth there. 13 shots apiece and only 2 on target for Salernitana and 6 for Cagliari, which is actually pretty good. But Salernitana also trying to steady the ship with Sousa. Did Sousa get fired yet? I can't remember at this point. But they definitely need some help because it's been a rocky start to their season. As we spoke about Lazio and Sassuolo, and I think we should look at the standings at that point before we just mention that Udinese and Lecce play tomorrow with Fiorentina Empoli. It's kind of like a Tuscan derby. Those stadiums are within an hour of each other. And we see Roma move way up into 7th place at this point, 14 points alongside Bologna. 4 wins, 2 draws, and 3 losses. Whereas we look at the very top, and Inter has 7 wins. So match day 9, Inter has won 7 out of 9 of those. 1 draw, 1 loss. But the last 5 for Roma has been pretty good. We look at the last 3 matches, 3 wins, 1 loss, and a draw. It's probably the best. Yeah, that's the best most recent form of any team in the league. So Roma going in with the best form, and Milan pick up that loss today. Previously, that would have been them. As you can see, they had 4 straight wins, maybe even 5 if I look back, because they had 7 wins already. But they're at 21 points in 2nd place, and that's going to really dampen, I think, spirits around Milan. But it's Inter who come, or I should have said Roma, who go to the San Siro, I think, next week, right? And that's at the San Siro. Let's look. Yeah, it sure is. And that's going to be at 1 p.m. New York City time, Sunday, October 29th. But back to the standings for a second. If we look at Roma's 14 points, we look all the way up to fourth place. And that's not that far off. That's just 3 points off. I do expect Napoli to keep up the chase, whereas Fiorentina, I do assume, will slow down or start to. Atalanta to me is a fifth to sixth placed side this season, nothing more. And there's a lot of criticism about Scalvini over this international break, some of it warranted. However, I still think that he is one of the big hopes for the Azzurri, for the national team going forward. He's a player that I would love to see come to Rome. Honest with you, I don't think Roma have that spending capability at this point. I don't think they have that flexibility. But at the bottom three, there we go. The two sides which drew today, and Empoli, who will probably lose against Fiorentina because what do they got? 1 goal scored so far. Yeah, 1 goal for. It's pathetic. Come on, man. 8 games into the season, it's ridiculous. It makes me think of, does Serie A really need to be a full 20 teams? Should it be knocked down to 18? Write that in the comments. Let me know what you think about that. Okay, guys. Guys, throw your comments in. Let me know how you're thinking, where you're coming from. If you're new here, if you were upset with Roma, or if you were proud, or a little bit of both. Tell me what you're thinking about El Shaarawy and his situation with, he was being accused of this match fixing, this nonsense that's going around. Well, it's not nonsense for everybody. Some people are guilty, but he gets accused without any type of evidence or anything against him, and he gets the goal. So it's good stuff by him. It's he's been that guy, right? He has been the player for many years now who Roma can rely upon, and isn't always a consistent starter, right? But someone who comes off the bench, heavy in the rotation, is he, and does his job, keeps his head down, works hard. Alex is here. He says hello, Alex. Hi guys, Roma is back for the Scudetto. I wish. Vincent says it's crazy to think we're still very much within the top 4 considering the start we had. Also thinks that Serie A should stay at 20 teams and that smaller teams need a bigger budget or budget to spend, period. And maybe some truth to that as well. The pie that is divvied up at the beginning of the season for media rights, maybe that has to be a little bit more equal. That's what Vincent thinks anyway. Let's take a look at the starting, or I should say the match report here. So as we could see, the red card in 90+9 at the very end, that was Mourinho. I don't see here. Oh, there it is. In the 41st, we see the yellow and then the double yellow, that red sneaking up there from Danilo D'Ambrosio. To be honest with you, I have no idea what he was thinking. It was such a foolish mistake by the defender. Hey, you can't be playing like that. Jose Mourinho pays the price. He gets subbed out. Birindelli had a pretty good match along with Samuele Vignato, who came in for Copani, who is arguably Monza's best player of the season so far. And Monza, for 1 second, they did not stop the heat. It looked like it was Roma who had the man down at times, not Monza. But they press, and they get a bunch of shots off. I think that it was probably Birindelli who shot from the top of the 18, but Rui Patricio did everything that was needed of him today, and he made a couple good saves, didn't block any or have any deflections which went out into danger. Overall, he was probably the man of the match for me. Man of the match. Yeah, let me write that up right now into a banner. Who was, maybe I have it here. No, that's okay. Who was your, I'm going Rui Patricio, my friends. Rui for me. I think he kept the Roma in this game. Without them, in any other type of mistake, who knows what happens, and what a catastrophe it would have been if Roma did lose this one to Monza, or even draw, given the circumstances, right? So as we head back to the screen here, we've got our starting formations from right to left. Gianluca Mancini wears the captain's armband with Cristante slotting back into the sweeper role. Gazzetta dello Sport reported that Llorente was going to start this match. I didn't agree with it, nor did I agree with the person that they put in the right, which was Christensen. I said it was going to be Karsdorp. It was Karsdorp. Bove gets the nod, which I didn't think. Well, yeah, I did think that was going to happen because Cristante slotted back. Paredes had a pretty good pretty decent game today so far. I thought he was calm. Like he should have been though, right? You think of being a man up and you're the type of player who can direct between the defense and midfield. He should be able to control that match. Awar, I thought had a good effort. It wasn't enough end product, but overall, I thought he did okay. Spinazzola in the first half was great. We could see him get the star here, according to Who Scored statistics. And if we click on that, it's going to give us some of his stats here. So we've got pass success 78, whatever, 2 successful dribbles, 2 tackles, 2 corners made. So not so bad. Belotti, he was to me a little underrated in this match in that he caused problems. He drew attention and opened things up for his teammates. His ability to go forward and draw those players in is something that which allows him to be in dangerous scoring opportunities when you don't think that he might be, because he's got this mix of like, yeah, big, strong target center forward, but he's also got this ability to just become like a hazard, kind of like a bull in a china shop where players have to foul him to get the ball off of him because he's got those broad shoulders. He pushes them off. Whereas if we contrast that to Lukaku, is somebody who wants it in the final. He wants it like, very close to the end there. Can Lukaku hold the ball up? Yeah, of course. He can hold it up anywhere on the pitch. But the thing that he wants it most is he wants it around the penalty box. He wants to get that ball on his foot, take one touch, and shoot. That's his thing. So I think actually they can complement each other well. The issue is that without Dybala, can they? Without Pellegrini, can they? And that's where Aouar, I think, if he had played more central rather than a 5 across, I think positionally that could have been something which helped the team. But Mourinho says that he has a different profile. He's not that type of player. Because, okay, whatever. Caldirola, Pablo Mari D'Ambrosio for Monza, Kyriakopoulos, who had a good attempt in the first half, I think in the first 15 minutes, Pessina, Gallardini, Pereira, Colpani, Machin, who I mentioned gets subbed out, and Colombo. And as we look at the bench, a lot of players, or I should say a lot of people, were focusing on Vignato, who came in and had a 100% pass success rate. He probably only had a couple passes, 3 successful dribbles, 2 shots in a limited amount of time. So Vignato, I want to look him up for a second, just to Samuele Vignato, read more. 19 years old, 5'8". So when I was at Roma Club New York, somebody had mentioned that he was 23, but I think they were talking about his brother, perhaps. This kid could be something for the future. Young player here. Oh, let's see where he came up from. He's Italian. He's from Negrar. I've never heard of this city. Whoa, it looks really off the beaten path. It's in Verona. Okay, so up in the mountains there, hey? Let's go back and take one more look again before we move away from the starting lineup. So this is Spinazzola, man of the match. I go with Patricio, and actually these ratings are very similar. 7.4 for Spina, 7.3 for Patricio. And guys, keep the comments coming in. I know I haven't looked at them in the past 5 minutes or so. Also, if you are listening on YouTube and you're like, Wayne, I got to go, this is going to be available on podcast as well as Apple Podcast and Spotify. Look at the table. I think now what I can do is share with you my screen on Twitter. So this is not, I don't think this is going to get copyrighted. I think we're good. So I put my phone next to me, there was this little ledge. And I said, I think Roma's going to score. They started to really apply the pressure. So let me just film this and see what happens. And well, I'm going to press play. So 6:30 a.m., 6:20, I got there with my buddy Chicho, and we're like, nobody's going to come, right? Yeah, right. 15 people showed up. We had cappuccino, a little bit of breakfast, espresso. Everyone chilled, singing as you can hear them, slamming the chairs. It was a great day. I don't know if you've ever been or you're a member of any of the Roma clubs, but you should definitely try to get to. Obviously, Roma Club New York is the best one outside of Italy, but yeah, try to get to any. Even if you're just there to watch as a casual fan, you've got an Inter fan club around you or whatnot. But we had so much fun today, especially because there's this kind of how do you say it? It's kind of like a crazy thing for all of us to show up early, and it becomes an event. It's that type of camaraderie, though. You need that type of socialization in life sometimes. I also want to take a look at some of these top tweets I saw. This one comes from 24 Designs. I really like this image he made of El Shaarawy with the Pharaoh over the Lupetto. I thought that was very original from Francisco. Good stuff there. Maybe he's on the channel right now. From the Pharaoh himself posts. And if we look through these pictures real quick, I posted them on my Twitter too, but I didn't realize that he actually uses his Twitter, or his social media manager does. Yeah, that's a great one. The whole Curva Sud, man. No wonder why he got emotional. Great hit. It's good. It's real good. It's an excellent thing to see. He looks up at his fans. He repays them, and they've repaid him. Tough time in his life, right, guys? And what is he, 30, 31? And he's doing his thing. He's repping the shirt's colors. And if there's a few players and you're wondering, like, whose name should I get on the back of my jersey? How about El Shaarawy? How about the guy who loves this team, who took a pay cut from China to come back and make things happen, comes off the bench? Oh, I see my buddy Alex Sapega there. That's cool. Yeah. A lot of love. I should love this post too, shouldn't I? There we go. All right, let's keep on moving. I thought this was funny from Enzo. Maybe Enzo will pop up. He said, the weirdest thing about early games is that about 6 hours. It's that after about 6 hours, it feels like the game was yesterday. It does. It really does feel like this one was a very long time ago, but it's not. Anyway, couple of my tweets as we go through. You could see we got the Jose Mourinho press conference. I got a little reminder plugging this episode, and that amazing photo, which I screenshotted. That's just so cool. He does the Pharaoh celebration, leans back. Imagine what he must feel at that moment. The vibrations from the crowd, the electricity running through his body, listening to everybody screaming. The idea that he has just won the game for his team at the death after such a difficult emotional week for him, where he's being criticized, and he just puts his head back, absorbs it all. He must have felt like a pure lightning bolt at this very moment. How cool. I do love him. I wrote that. Love you, El Shaarawy. And I meant it. Anyway, I hope you like this one, that video I posted. But there we go. A little picture of the cappuccino and us chilling. So it's good times, man. Good times. Someone said, since when did Monza have Manuel Neuer on the post? Di Gregorio is some keeper, right? I think Roma should sign him. I think they should go in, sign him. Colpani, even maybe. I don't know. Maybe Colpani would be redundant to Award, but you got to at least make the phone call, right? I want to know how much these players cost and if Roma can get it done. Anyway, I'm going to take a look at some comments, and then we are going to jump into the Jose presser. I'm going to stop sharing. Okay, let's see what we got going on, my friends. By the way, are you checking out the new decorations we've got up here? Looking a little bit better, right? Let's look. So Alex says, if we get the full complement of our squad by January, we can compete for the league. How do you feel about that comment, guys, from Alex? Can Roma compete for the league with a full squad? Let's say Renato Sanchez comes back, which to me, I don't think he's gonna. I don't know if Renato's going to get 10 games under his belt this season. But let's take Sanchez away. With this team, the way it is at this very moment, is it good enough to compete for the Scudetto? I say no. I think they're missing probably a dynamic winger who can really break down the lines and stretch a team out. I think they're also missing a world-class fullback. There is no Teo Hernandez. There's no Danilo. There's no Di Marco. Karsdorp is good. Spinazzola is good when he wants to play. There's no true defensive midfielder. I think there's gaps. There's no great keeper. There's not even a Sommer. There's no Magnan or Szczesny even. There's no Skorupski. Roma statistically has the worst keeper in the league. After today, that may have changed. But as of last week, that was the case. That was a scenario. The red card for Mourinho is to leave the players without pressure. I don't know. It is ridiculous, man. The fact that the referee had to resort to that. Like, you couldn't control that. He didn't do anything. It's ridiculous. I'm happy for Rui, but I think that's an average and expected performance. Sorry, I got to move myself up for any keeper. And I agree too, because none of those saves were remarkable. They were his responsibility. The only thing I mean is that he didn't make a mistake. And at times, that's enough to make me smile when it comes to him, given the situation. So, yeah, El Shaarawy's 30. Gets a national team call up, then gets accused of illegal betting, then scores the winner for Roma against Monza. Lots of love for SES. Vincent says it best. Also says next jersey he's going to get is either El Shaarawy or Cristante. Squad win, 16 players contributed. I like the way that you feel that you have articulated that, and it's very true, Sylv. This was a team performance. This was, like you mentioned, 16 players who came together, a lot of subs. And when the subs did come on, whether it was El Shaarawy or Zalewski on the left, there's a couple more subs there, right? Llorente, they did their job. They went for it. They didn't need too much time to get acclimated. Osmoon's got some sharp feet. He's tricky. He's able to escape from pressure and dribble out of tight spaces, which isn't that typical for a center forward. So he's got a different profile to Belotti and Lukaku, as I'm learning, because I don't know too much about Osmoon. I'm sure some of you know a lot better than I do there. Vincent also says Roma cannot compete for the league, but definitely for top four. And I agree with that. As we look at the team, and they're 3 points away from 17, which is the fourth spot right now. I do think Roma can compete for the top four. It's tough, but you know what? That deadline move of getting Lukaku may have seriously changed things. I think that without him, Roma was a fifth or sixth place team. But then again, Belotti started firing, right? Belotti started doing really well. But it's so much more just about the longevity of the season. And it's three fronts. As of right now, Roma's in the Coppa Italia, Roma's in the Europa League, and they're fighting to get top four for the Champions League. And even as Sylv points out here, Christensen is involved in that goal, another one of the subs. So it's a great point that's brought up here. Let us jump to the Mou press conference. I'm going to look for that in my tabs real quick. Just give me 1 second. Okay, we have got it right here. This is a particularly long press conference. I'm going to pick out a few of the questions here because if not, I'm going to be narrating all day. And as much as I like to tell stories, this is, you're not, I know you have limited time too in your life. So you got to probably eat dinner or go to bed or study or something like that, right? Get ready for work. As much as I love you here. So let's take a look at this first one here. Should the connection between Belotti and Lukaku improve? And he says, without Dybala and without Pellegrini, we lack a connection. I tried to do it with Aouar, but he has a different profile. With two pure attackers, we achieved positive results. But the truth is that when there are two pure attackers, and neither of them is creative without a 10, it's more difficult for us. They close themselves off. Pablo Mari looked like a tree. I like that line. A fantastic man for them. When he put on Mota and Vignato, which he did very well, it was a good decision. We risked to win. We lost compactness, and they brought in good, fast players. It was very hard. About that compactness, he's definitely right. There was one point in time where I saw the entire midfield of Roma kind of give up, and Roma was very lucky Monza didn't score. He said, when I saw Osmoon's ball on the post, I thought if it hadn't gone in, it would have done so afterwards. Stefan has a feeling for the last few minutes, meaning like he knows how to show up at the end of the games. Have you been close to SES for these past days? He says, close but for 2 minutes. I have a very real relationship with them. Better an ugly truth than a good lie with me. They told me, don't worry, because for us it's zero. And I was calm. And then says he doesn't know why he was thrown out. He says for offensive words, for a gesture. Last year that, the other manager had some nasty words for us, but today only the bench put on a show and put pressure on the referee was theirs. What he's saying is that it was only Monza's bench which pressured the ref, but takes the high road and says, my words to them are good team, very good coach, and they didn't deserve the defeat. Let's go down to the zone here. Let's go to, has the Olympico given something more? He says, if I'm a fan and I'm at home and my team isn't playing well, I don't have the calm to support the team. This is why they are special. The team, by not playing well, has kept its heart and its hype. It's a team in difficulty, but they know to be able to win it. It's a good one. If I was a fan and my team wasn't playing good, I wouldn't be there. But on the contrary, the Romanisti show up every single match, man. It's like 39 matches in a row or something now. Sold out. They didn't play good for 85 minutes. And what do you know? It ends up the 12th man does his job and gets Roma that win. Okay. Uh, yeah, I want to look at this one as well. Did you struggle in your positions on the pitch? He says, in the way we pressed from the first half, then with one more player, it was easier. My players saved their energy. We defended well in the first half. They didn't have a shot on target. Against Monza, if you block low, they play and have possession of the ball. At home, you can't play like we did in the first half. The change of structure made in the second half was a risk. The opposing coach is very intelligent, and when he sells a change of structure, he puts Mota and a fantastic player behind him. Well done to them. If I were them, I would be disappointed by 0 points. And then he comments again about the referee. He says the expulsion came from my gesture, and if the referee thinks it was rude, that's fine. Do you mind not going to San Siro? I regret not going to the bench every game that I don't go to. Okay, at the presser. How did you see El Shaarawy? He said, I think it's harder for a person to be accused of something they didn't do rather than to be accused of something they did. From experience, when something negative happens, those who suffer the most are always the family, the girlfriend, the parent, the brother who is closest. And this makes you suffer even more. He spoke to me. He told me, 0, don't worry, mister. This is why the club made a statement in support, because they are 100% sure. I saw him train well. Even the match for the national team was good for his self-esteem. At a moment in the match when we were playing badly, we needed to do something to change. I'm going to read one more line of this here. He says, the change in structure and players improved the team offensively and left the team defensively open to a possible defeat. Which is true, right? You put on El Shaarawy, you put on Zalewski. The only balance point there was Christensen, who was also getting up. He said they had some scoring opportunities. My Monza colleague noted this and changed the structure. With Mota and Vignato, they could have won. The match was of very low technical quality, but of great emotional quality. All right, the question about Papu Gomez, which has been going around. He says, this is going to be a good one. Okay, he says, with Azmoun and El Shaarawy, we opened up more. They have high-level technical quality. We took a risk there. I don't remember Gomez playing in the final. It seems to me against Juve in the semifinal already with a positive test. It's not my problem. I have a bit of a cough, but I don't want to take that syrup and have it checked. Cheeky there. After Dybala, is the team now leaning too much on Lukaku? Last question here, my friends. He says, I always try to have the humility to think of others. There are matches in which the others did nothing to have a positive result. Other times they do a lot. They were very good even with 10 men. They didn't stand behind waiting until the end, waiting for the end. Well done at transforming a 90-minute match into a 20-minute one. This is also a talent. It's not irony. I would be frustrated to go home with 0 points for what they did. Gagliardini and Pessina, let's not talk of Tonino and Peppino. They have experience. They created difficulties for us. That's why I rejoiced like this. And you're not going to beat that. When it comes to giving Serie A some spice, and I know a lot about spice because my stomach is killing me from some Thai food I ate about 30 minutes ago. And I'm telling you, I'm in serious pain. But on a serious note, Mourinho knows exactly what he's doing. And I love how he gets under their skin. Is this warranted for a red? That's ridiculous. Ridiculous. The fact that, come on, like, referee, show some guts. You got to give him a straight red for that? Mind-boggling. It's kind of like what Mourinho said a while back, where sometimes these refs give him a red card and it's like another notch to their resume so they could say that they did it. I gave Mourinho a red card. Like, ridiculous. I can't say it enough. Okay. One more here from businesses. That Papu Gomez comment is fantastic. Yeah. Guys, keep a few more comments coming in. I'm going to keep you for 2 more minutes. If nothing crazy comes in, I'm going to take one more look at the news. If anything significant has come in. We've got Roma 3 points out of the fourth spot at this point on 14 points, whereas 17 points is enough to claim the fourth spot right now. But Roma, the most informed team of Serie A at the moment, which is looking good following Milan's loss. And if you watch that game, as we spoke about in the very beginning of this episode, what a bad mistake by Chia, I think is how you pronounce his name. It looks like Thea. I think it's Cha. Bro, what are you thinking? Kane was clearly gone. You were the last man, and you don't have the brain to not make that challenge. It's poor, and that really ruined the game. It was so open, not so open, but it was much more open before that. And I want to think that if, on the same token, if Roma did not draw that red card, this game would have been a lot more open. And I think actually there would have been more space for Roma. But hey, brothers and sisters, a win is nothing but 3 points sometimes. So you take it at that. You take it at ground level. But I'm looking for any substantial news to throw at you. Zeman, Roma coach, said bans for gambling are not harsh enough. Everybody knows Zeman, but let's see now what happens to Tonali. It's gonna be quite some time, I think, for Tonali. So not so good. Lookman decisive again for Atalanta, and that's it, guys. I think we can look one more time at the beautiful photo that is El Shaarawy. Let me see if I can get us back there. Yeah, let's go one more time, just for giggles. Fill in the blank before that, and I'll leave you on that note. Perfect, guys. Let's talk soon. Leave a comment, subscribe if you haven't, and I will see you next time. Ciao, ciao. Oops, I forgot to hit end.